Today, we're diving into a part of life that gets a ton of attention, but maybe not in the right way, the time after a baby is born. We're going to talk about postpartum care and how modern science and, just plain old love and support for a new mother can come together. It's wild when you think about it, right? The second a baby arrives, every single question is about them. How's the baby? Are they sleeping? And the person who just went through one of the most intense physical and emotional experiences of her life, she kind of fades into the background. But her recovery, that's the real story here. It's absolutely critical, but so often it's almost completely overlooked. This recovery period is so important that doctors have actually given it a name, the fourth trimester. And it's not just some downtime. It's a super active, 6-week-long healing marathon. A mother's body is literally working overtime to get back to its pre-pregnancy state. And just understanding that, that's the first huge step in giving her the support she actually needs. Okay, so here's where it can get complicated. A new mom is suddenly drowning in advice. On one side, you have these deeply held traditions from family who love her. On the other, you have the straight-up evidence-based guidance from her doctor. So how in the world do you navigate all that? So let's take a common tradition, using hot coals to keep a new mother warm. Now, the science here is pretty cool. That feeling of being cold, it has nothing to do with the temperature in the room. What's really happening is a massive drop in pregnancy hormones, and that completely messes with the body's internal thermostat, causing chills. So the goal, staying warm, is spot on. But a cozy, warm blanket does the job just as well, and, a whole lot more safely. And here's another huge one, being told to avoid baths and showers. Honestly, this myth isn't just old-fashioned, it can be really dangerous. After giving birth, a mother has wounds that absolutely have to be kept clean to heal properly. Good hygiene isn't some kind of luxury, it's a medical must to prevent some really serious infections. And this really gets to the heart of it all. These traditions didn't just come out of nowhere. They were smart solutions for a time before modern homes, before good sanitation, before we had the medicine we do today. The love and the intention behind them are so pure. Our elders just want to keep mom and baby safe and warm. And today, we can honor that exact same intention just by using safer, science-backed methods to get the very same result. If you want to understand why medical advice can seem so specific, look at this. It's a fantastic example. Have you ever seen a newborn in the hospital and noticed their little mittens are on inside out? Well, that's not a mistake. It's because even a single loose thread inside a mitten could wrap around a baby's tiny finger, cutting off circulation. It's such a small detail, but it's a powerful preventative step that comes from hard-earned, real-world experience. It shows how modern care is all about preventing harm. All right, this brings us to that massive pressure to bounce back. Our culture is obsessed with it, but true recovery has nothing to do with how you look on the outside. The real work, the profound healing, it's all happening on the inside, where no one can see it. Just take a look at the journey of the uterus alone. Right after birth, it's about the size of a small watermelon. 1 week later, it's already shrunk by half. And then, over the next 6 weeks, it keeps contracting all the way back down to its original size. That is a huge internal transformation happening all on its own. And this is why the whole idea of belly binding gets complicated. A lot of people believe that if you wrap your stomach really tightly, it forces the uterus to shrink faster. But from a scientific standpoint, that shrinking process is driven by hormones from the inside. No amount of outside pressure can speed up that biological clock. The uterus is going to do its thing on its own schedule. So then, what about that infamous postpartum back pain? Well, it's definitely not because you skipped the belly binder. The real culprits? First, you've still got hormones making your ligaments all loosey-goosey. Then there's posture, from endless hours of feeding and carrying a baby. Add in total exhaustion and a core that's been stretched out for 9 months, and yeah, your back is gonna feel it. Okay, so we busted a few myths. Now let's get into the good stuff. What can you actually do? What are the concrete, science-backed steps that can help you heal and feel better during that 4th trimester? Let's build out your recovery toolkit. First up, nutrition. And this number right here is a real eye-opener. A breastfeeding mom needs around 500 extra calories every single day. For a lot of women, that's even more than they needed in their final trimester of pregnancy. That's because making milk is incredibly hard work for your body. So what should you eat? The goal isn't just empty calories. It's a balanced, varied diet. It's also super important to keep taking your iron and calcium supplements to build your stores back up. And water. Drink tons of water, especially if you're breastfeeding. Oh, and here's a fun fact. Strong flavors, like a lot of garlic, can actually get into the breast milk. So if your baby is suddenly really fussy, hey, it might have been something you ate. Next, let's talk about movement. I know it's probably the absolute last thing you feel like doing, but it's so important. The trick is to start really slow and just listen to your body. We're talking simple stretches in bed on day 1. Then maybe some short, slow walks around the house. You gradually build up from there. This is not about getting a workout in, it's just about gently waking your body back up. So why is it so vital, even when you're completely exhausted? Well, there are 3 huge medical reasons. First, it gets your blood flowing, which helps prevent dangerous blood clots. Second, it helps your body get rid of postpartum bleeding, which lowers the risk of infection. And third, it releases endorphins, which can be a massive and very welcome mood booster. And that brings us to mental health. The hormonal freefall after birth is no joke. The baby blues, feeling weepy and sad for the first couple of weeks, that's super common. But we have to know the difference between that and postpartum depression, which is much more serious and lasts longer. A big sign is feeling deeply sad or totally overwhelmed for no reason you can pinpoint. And you have to know this. It is a medical condition. It's not a weakness. It's not a character flaw. Asking for help is the bravest, strongest thing you can possibly do. So let's wrap this up by reframing the whole conversation. Taking care of yourself postpartum isn't selfish. It's not an indulgence. It's about building the foundation for your new family. A mother's health, both physical and mental, is the bedrock that everything else is built on. It all boils down to that simple but powerful idea we've all heard a million times, but it has never been more true than right now. The very first step in taking care of your baby is taking care of yourself. You just cannot pour from an empty cup. So we'll just leave you with this to think about. Whether you're a new mom, a partner, a friend, or maybe you're planning for a family someday, just remember this. In this amazing, chaotic, all-consuming journey of motherhood, are you remembering to also mother the mother?